Hello everyone, welcome back again to Angela's Craft Room. Today I've got this card for you using the Sitting Here stamp set. So I really love making scenes with this stamp set, so I thought I'd share it with you how I actually do it. I have pre-coloured some images so that hopefully the video doesn't go too long for you. So this is the stamp set called Sitting Here. And it's a really great one. It's got quite a few images that you can make your own scene and be very creative with this stamp set. So I'm also using the Hardwood Background Stamp Set, and I'm also using the Hold On to Hope stamp set. I'm using this vine floral image here. So just so you know, those three stamp sets are in the current catalogue. If you can contact your demonstrator if you're interested in getting any of those stamp sets. So let's get started with this lovely card with the scene. So to start with, I've got, you can use whatever colour you want, of course. This is Dapper Denim, and I think it's one of the old colours, and I've just got some left and I just want to use it up. So this is 11 inches long by 4 1/8 of an inch wide, and then I've scored it at 5.5. And then I've already stamped and adhered inside. So I stamped the vine on the corner of a piece of Whisper White, which measures 5 1/4 inches by 3 7/8 of an inch, and then I glued it into the card with my Tombow liquid glue. You can use whatever you normally use. So that's the base of the card. Then I've got another piece of Whisper White which measures 5 1/4 inches by 3 7/8 of an inch, and that's going to go, that's what we're going to be doing all our stamping on, and that's going to go on the front of the card like that. So you can just see that I've actually stamped it in Whisper White ink, and I really love doing that on to stamp with the Whisper White ink when I do the Hardwood stamp set on a scene like this, because then it's not such a deep colour in the background. It doesn't take away from what's going on in your scene. So just going to grab some grid paper, and we're going to be working on this piece. So our very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to stamp our swing. So I'll grab my Stamparatus. So as you can see, I've already got my swing mounted there ready. I'll just make sure it's where I want it to be. And because it's a photopolymer stamp set, we need to put the foam piece that's Stampin' Up sends you when you get your Stamparatus. So we want it about just get it exactly where I want. So that will be fine. And then we're just going to put the magnet down the centre like that. Now I like to put a stamp case underneath the lid so that when I'm stamping, I've got something to press, lever on, so I'm not bending back this plate. So I'm going to stamp it in VersaFine Onyx Black ink. You can use Memento Black as well. I just like to use, when I'm going to colour an image, I like to use the VersaFine Onyx Black. It's more of a really bright black. But if you've got a misty tool or anything like that, you can use the Memento ink, but you're going to have to most probably stamp it a couple of times. Now I can see that I've just got a little bit of, I'm not sure if that would transfer to the card, so I'm just going to just get a cotton bud in there just in case. So the ideal of this video is just to help you see how you can create a scene. And I'll be colouring in using the Stamping Up blends. That's what I've used to colour. And I'm going to use the crumb cake just to quickly colour the swing. Sometimes the photopolymer stamps are a bit, you just need to have a look, and that's why I like using the Stamparatus, because I can see where I haven't added enough pressure. So I might just do that little bit up there. Everywhere else seems pretty good. So I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to wipe this off with the chamois. I do have my new Stamping Up chamois coming, so this one's from Fawn Lawn, but Stamping Up have brought out one, so I can't wait to try theirs. So just put that over there and I'll clean that properly later. Now I'm going to take that off for now, just because we've still got to stamp our vine on there, but we will colour the, I'm going to colour the swing first, and I'm using crumb cake as I said, and I'm using the Stamping Up blends. So you get a light one and a dark one. Now when it's something like this, it's very small spaces, so I don't really tend to worry. Actually, I'll use the brush end. I'm not going to really worry about blending too much. I like to put the light one down first. And I will colour this as quickly as I can for you. But you can just see how easy it is to colour with these. And with this being like a wood sort of swing, there are some impressions the artist has put on the stamp. So that is where I would put the dark pen. I would just put a little bit. See, I'm hardly putting any, because of the area is very narrow and you don't want to go outside those lines. And then I'm just sort of blending it in like that. So I'm just going to do the slats at the back. You can see how quick that is. So unfortunately with this stamp set there aren't matching framelits, so you will have to stamp and fussy cut if you want to do it the way I've done it, and I'll just show you that a bit later on in the video. So I'm just going to go down just on the sort of on the arm rest there where you put your arm. And there's just a very narrow space down there, and just down there. I really enjoy using this stamp set because I like doing the scenes sort of thing rather than just stamping. So I'm just going to go in with the darker, make that just a bit darker. I'm not really blending. I'm just making that a bit darker. So across the back here you can see that the artist has got some darker black lines as if it's in the wood. So you don't go right across, and then you just come back in with your light one and you just blend that in so there's no distinctive lines. I would do this a lot slower normally, but I just don't want the video to go too long for you. But I really wanted to show you how I stamp this swing as well. So then we've done the darker colour, so I'm just going to go back in with the light and just blend. Don't go over the whole thing, just blend the end where I've finished the colour. And I can see that I want that to be a little bit darker up there. And just remember it is wood. Just going to put a little bit more dark across there. So now when there's the light, I'll just put the cap back on that. This along here and along here, you can colour it if you want, but I just use the nib end, so that's the pointed end, and then the other end's a brush end. I just like to very lightly go up it, and you have to be careful. You're not really colouring it, you're just adding a little bit of colour. And when it's so narrow, because we're going to stamp a flower down it anyway, I would just use the lighter colour of the blends. Or you can just leave it. It's not something that I can do this part fast because it's very narrow and you do have to take a little bit of time. So that's the swing. So I'll just pop the caps back on there because I don't want them drying now. Then I'm just going to grab the Bermuda Bay and I'm just going to do the cushion here. Now my cat's going to sit on here, so you don't have to be too super fussy. And once again, you're just adding colour because of the small area that you're applying the blends to. And I'm only using the light one because I think that gives it enough colour, because you can go over it or you can use the darker one as you. Now just be careful here with this image because there is actually a space between the cushion and the bottom wood part here. It doesn't meet evenly because we'll just pretend it's an old swing and that's how it is. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my Stamper Artist back over and I'm using the, just pop this here. Now I'm using the flourish from the Hold On to Hope. Okay, so all I'm doing, there's no wrong way to do this. I like to have the point of the flourish on the swing, and I like this part to be off a little bit. And because it's a clear mount stamp, not a photopolymer, I've had to remove the foam. So I'm just going to press that down, and I'm just going to grab, I've got a little stamping spot, Bermuda Bay. Whoops. I just need my stamp case under there. So all I'm doing is stamping up the flourish. I'll just bring that over a little bit so you can see exactly what I'm doing, so you're not missing out on anything. So I'm just stamping that up, and I just find these little stamping spots really handy with that. So then we're going to bring that down and just press firmly. Like that. So it's off a little bit. So I'm just going to wipe that. That's the good thing about using a Misty or something like the Stamparatus. I love the Stamparatus. Now we just want that to be straight. Doesn't really matter. These magnets are super strong. So I'm just going to wipe off that stamp, which I did with my chamois, and I'm just going to, I've got a bit of a craft rag that I use because that's going to be still wet with water. So if you were to not wipe it with a dry cloth before putting it down here, you're going to get a water image. Now all I'm doing exactly the same. The point I'm putting down on the swing that goes up like that, bring it across, and then we're just going to grab this again. Stamping Up do sell these stamping spots, and they're not coloured, they're just white. And then what you do is you use your re-inker and you just create whatever colour you want. It's a super ideal. So because I find this size is very good for stamping when you're using the Stamparatus. And I do travel a bit in our motorhome, and it does really, it's really great for me to travel with those little square stamps. So I'm really happy with how that's turned out. And this is how strong these magnets are. Literally have to slide it. So you've just got to break the seal from the magnet. So we'll just wipe that off. And I'll just wipe that off. So then we're just going to put that over there out of the way. Just careful because that's already that's still a little bit wet. So what I'm going to do, I've coloured already, I stamped and cut out the little bird, look how tiny he is, and I coloured him in with the Calypso Coral stamping blends. And I'm just going to get, you could use a glue dot, I'm just going to use a little bit of Tombow. Don't need too much on him. And I'm just going to pop him straight onto the swing. And so our scene is starting to come together. Okay. Then I've got the cat, which I have stamped and cut out and coloured with Smoky Slate stamping blends, and I've just put dimensionals on the back there, and so I'll just peel them off. and you want his bottom part to be sitting on the bottom of the cushion. So be careful not to put him too high because it'll make him look like he's sitting up in the air. And I sort of just swing him around so this bottom part is on the bottom part of the coloured seat. And I'm just pressing down because he's got the stamping dimensionals on there. Then I'm just going to, before I put the flowers pot on, I'm going to glue this with my Tombow, and I'm going to put that on the front of the card. So you can see how easy it is to make a scene. I mean, this set comes with a dog and a dog basket, and I have showed you how to do that before. If you go to my playlist on my YouTube channel and just have a look for the playlist that's called Sitting Here, and all the tutorials I've done using this stamp set are in there. And that's what I try to do with my playlist, because I like to get the most out of a stamp set. So if I buy a stamp set, I like to use it as much as I can and do different things with it. So there's a little bit where I had the magnet, and I just used a normal pencil rubber, and the magnet just seems, because we're on white, it seems to leave a little mark. And because I've stamped it with the Hardwood Stamp Set before coming on to do the video for you, you get a few little grooves and places where you might get a few grubby marks, but it's not glue, it's just from handling it. So I always like to have a rubber nearby. So that's that one, and then I've stamped and cut out one of the planter with the flowers in it, pots, and I've just coloured that with a few different stamping dimensionals. I think I've used Melon Mambo, Pool Party, Daffodil Delight and Olive Green. But you can just use whatever colours you want. If you don't have stamping blends, you might have pencils or something like that you can use. And then I'm just going to put that planter pot as if it's just beside the swing but sort of underneath it. So we're nearly finished, so it's not really a hard card. I mean, I know I did have the things cut out previous. Now, in a previous video, I did show you how I did my sentiments on other cards where I've made, because that actually is, that's actually that long sentiment there, and how I've done that is I've masked half the sentiment before stamping it, and then I've cut it out with a word window punch that I have. But I know you can't get, but you might have some other punch similar, or you could just use your trimmer and make it like a rectangle or something like that. I just feel like with these sorts of cards, it just fits in a lot better. So I'm just going to pop a bit of glue back there. Don't want too much of the glue oozing out. So I think if I put that down too far, it's not going to look right. So I'm just going to put that up here. And you could even have just sitting here, and you could have thinking of you down here, which I think I'll do that because, yeah. Just popping a bit of glue on the back. And I'm going, oh, it's upside down. I'm going to pop that one down here, just for something different. Okay, and then just finally, I'm just going to pop a couple of rhinestones. One on that side. And one on that side, just to jazz it up a bit. One there. And one there. And then we'll just pop our glue away. And just see there's a little there. Okay, and that's our card done for today. So this was the original one, and that's the one we've done together today. So I hope you'll try that. I really love this stamp set, and I really love sharing what I create with you, and I hope it helps you to create some lovely cards as well. So until next time, happy crafting.